My name is Matt Mora. I am the Athlete Services Specialist here at Fox Racing, and today I'm going to walk you through how we prep goggles for the mud and pretty unfavorable conditions. First off, it starts with the goggle. We currently offer 3 different kinds of goggles: the Vue, the Airspace, and the Main. All 3 of these goggles have the capabilities of running roll-offs or tear-offs, kind of whatever your preference for racing is, and also the conditions. All of our pro riders like Jorge Prado, Ken Roczen specifically, race in the Vue goggle. So today I will be demonstrating how we prep those specifically. And stick around to the end of the video and I can kind of recap some of the main differences between the Main and the Airspace goggle. Now that we have our Vue goggle in front of us, I'm gonna demonstrate how we build these goggles with single tear-offs. These single tear-offs that I have in front of me come in the box when you buy a Vue goggle. And the situation that you might want to run a single or maybe 2 or 3, if it's kind of muddy in the morning, or if it's just like the track's kind of still breaking in, and you don't need like a full 7 stack of laminated tear-offs, these are a great option to kind of save your lens and make sure that you still have enough tear-offs to clear your vision. When you're ready to start building your goggles, you can take one of these single tear-offs that come in the box. You'll start from left to right. So you'll snap it onto this pin on the left. Then you'll pull some tension across the lens as well as the tear-off. You'll snap it down onto the second pin. And then that's the easiest part of this whole process. If you want to, maybe more than one, you can start again with the second tear-off. Same process, starting from left to right. Pull some tension again, snap your second tear-off down onto the second pin on the lens, and then now's the time to fold. So we'll start with pulling this second tear-off up. This first tear-off will snap down onto your outrigger post. You're going to fold it back towards the lens, and then you're going to align this bottom part of the D-ring up against this outrigger post. And then at that point, you're going to push down ever so slightly that little top of the tear-off, and then you're going to snap the second one back on top of that. And at that point, once you pull the second tear-off off, or I guess you can say your first one, your initial tear-off will then pop open and be ready for you to grab as well. We also offer a 14-pack of laminated tear-offs. You can see here. Each pack of these comes with 2 7 stacks of tear-offs, so that's total 14. And those are all laminated together. So they're basically, it's like a thin sheet of glue that holds them all together. And these are really good. These are what we use for all of our pro athletes at all of the supercross rounds, all of our motocross rounds. And the key differences between the singles and the laminated tear-offs is that glue that's holding them together in that 7 stack. So it's just gonna really make sure that those are tight together and also make sure that nothing can really get in between those single tear-offs. Moving on, I'm going to show you guys how to install and build a 7 stack of tear-offs. So you're going to start with your pack, you're going to open it up. You can pull out both of them together. These are your 14, and then you'll take off your top 7 stack. I typically like to keep this top piece of paper on just to kind of like protect the top of the tear-offs, making sure that you're not going to scratch anything. We'll start very similar to the single tear-offs. So you're going to start on the left side here, and then you'll move over to the right side, snap that down onto the second post, and then now you start your folding process. And then at that point, you're done. So you've got your flower of 6 ready to pop off as soon as you pull the initial one off. So I guess you can test it in a certain way. You can pull this top one, and then that next tear-off should immediately be ready for the next pull. Keep in mind, you're going to need to do this for every single tear-off, so that's going to be about 6 total that do get folded, and then that top one will hang open for you to grab. Now that your goggle's ready and built, one thing I do want to note is that when you are pulling these tear-offs, you want to make sure to remember that you're pulling from left to right instead of like just fully front to back. If you do pull out front to back, it might not pop off the easiest. You might run into another issue of them popping off the post here. So yeah, left to right is going to be the smoothest, easiest way to guarantee that these are going to work for you. So we just went through tear-offs, how we build those. Next up, we have our roll-off system here. In the instances that you're going to want to roll off instead of tear-offs, is going to be anything where it's sandy, if it's raining, if the track, the race is just a complete mutter. This is going to be your go-to system over tear-offs. It's a little bit more reliable, consistent. You're not going to have any extra water getting between tear-offs or anything like that. And yeah, I'll walk you guys through how to race prep a roll-off system. As you guys can see here, we have a roll-off goggle with the roll-off already fully installed, ready to go. The only thing that you're gonna need to do to this one is pull the film across and add your mud guard to the top of it, and then at that point, this one is ready to go. This goggle does not have any roll-off system, anything applied to it quite yet, but we do sell it as a spare part, and today I'm gonna show you guys how to build it from the ground up. So our roll-off system is gonna come with your lens and canisters, your spindle, 2 mud flaps, and tear-offs. Those tear-offs are for the end of the build. Once everything's built up, we can throw a couple of those tear-offs on top to get you through the first start, first turn, anything that you may need. So once you're ready to build your roll-off system, you're gonna come to your Vue goggle, you're gonna pop out your lens, you're gonna start with turning clockwise on the right outrigger. On the left one, you're gonna go opposite, you're gonna go counterclockwise, kind of putting some pressure on the bottom and on the top of the outrigger, and then it should just spin right off. At that point, you can pop out your lens. Next up, I'm gonna take our roll-off system. You wanna make sure that those grooves get aligned on the left side. The lens falls behind the nose guard. And then you're gonna wanna make sure that those next ones are also flush. And then from here, you can take off your canister doors. This should just slide right out. Make sure that your lens is still nice and flush. You can take out your rolls of film. We'll save those for later. You will need a screwdriver. And you're gonna start, it doesn't matter what side you start on, just gently pull this screw right out. And the whole point of this is just to show that you're gonna need to take off the canisters in order to put your outriggers back on. So once you've got those screws taken out, you can take off your canister, set that aside. You'll take your strap, same way as we took it off, just opposite. So you'll start on the top and then rotate it counterclockwise. Snap the top down first, and then that bottom one will be your little lock. And then once you're ready to put your canisters back on, I like to kind of just make sure that these things are all the way pushed up against the lens. Those are sitting nice and flush, so we're ready to go. I like to go left and right, or left to right here as well. You'll pull tension all the way across, line up those little grooves on both sides, and then just give those things one more little push just to make sure that those are sitting flush. And you'll take your screws, screw those back in, and then I like to put a finger on the bottom of this backing plate as I'm screwing it in, just to make sure that this isn't gonna fall through. And you can go about hand tight with this. Just gotta be careful just because those are plastic and it's a metal screw, so just be careful of not stripping it. Same thing on this side, finger on the back. Gently screw these things in until you're about hand tight. Should be good to go there. So now that your canisters are back on, you'll start with your film. And this is directional up and down film, so gently take off this tape. You want to be gentle with it just because you will use it again later. So as you're pulling it off, kind of save that extra piece. And there will be a little adhesive left on that film, which is totally okay. And then as you pull it across, just make sure that this film slides underneath the nose guard. That'll kind of help with any mud or anything like that that's really heavy and can possibly pull the film down. It's gonna make sure that it doesn't go over the nose guard, and the nose guard kind of holds it in place and keeps it in the track. So now that you've got that fully across, you'll take your post. This comes out in the box, and you can apply pressure to the middle and then down on the opposite sides. And you'll hear a little pop, and then at that point, it just pops right out. So once you're ready, you can take your spindle, you'll pull this center piece out, and then once that's out, you have a little recess. Then you're gonna align your film to the center of this. You'll take the piece that you just pulled out, and then snap that straight back in. And then what I like to do is just kind of give this a nice tug, And then at that point you can work backwards just to make sure that this film is aligning straight with this spindle. So you can take your time with it. It'll get a little tough. It's totally fine. And then once that film is straight across, you have this little adhesive backing. You can snap that down onto the spindle. You'll take that tape that you saved, and then start on that recess that you initially pulled out on the post. You'll tape that down, wrap it around the back side. You'll tape that against the film. You'll slot this bottom of the post, has a little groove. This groove matches up with the groove on the bottom of the motor. So once you slot that straight down, your post is in place. I like to pull a little bit of tension all the way across, just to make sure, again, that that film is going straight and it's not climbing up or down. If it climbs up or down, you can kind of restart that process of making sure that the film's aligned, because if it creeps up or creeps down, it's gonna bunch up into the top or the bottom. And then if that does do that, then it's gonna get really sticky. It's gonna get really hard to pull. We don't want that. So once that stuff is straight, you're pretty much good to go there, and you're ready to put on the canister doors. You can start on the right side. We'll slide into those grooves on the top and the bottom. And then as soon as those are in, this back piece will recess back into the slot, and then give that a nice snap down to make sure that it's fully enclosed. Make sure that it's sealed all the way around. And at that point, you're good to go on that side. Come around to the opposite side now. Same process. I like to start from the bottom to the top on this side. So once that bottom groove is in, that top one should fall right into place. And then like before, give it a nice push to make sure that that's fully snapped down. And then from there, give it a nice little extra pull just to make sure that your film is running smoothly across your film, or across the lens. And then you can use your second mud guard. It's like a little trick that I like to do just to peel this adhesive backing off. So once you're ready with that, peel that off and set that aside. We're not going to need that anymore. And then on this, you want to get this adhesive backing as close to the top of the film as you possibly can without the film creeping up and sticking to the adhesive, eventually causing another bind. So what I like to do, I'll start and put this mud flap all the way up against this canister on the left, leave a little bit of a gap, and then keep your index finger of your left hand planted just to make sure that it's holding to the lens. Run this all the way across. Make sure it's sealed. You can run your thumb across it a couple times. And at that point, you've got a built roll-off. The last step now is just applying your tear-offs on the top. You might ask why. Why do we need tear-offs at the top of the roll-off? The roll-off should just be self-sustainable. We run tear-offs for all of our pro athletes for the instances of a start. The first turn, the first lap in general can get really hectic. So same process as building a normal tear-off goggle. You start on the left side. You'll eventually move to the right side. Give it a nice pull, snap that down on the other post, and then snap your third opening onto the post on the top of the canister. You can do one, you can do two. We typically run 2 to 3. You can then take your second tear off, snap that down, and then we'll then come fold the first one and snap that top one down on top of it. And then what I like to do here is just make sure that this D-ring on the one that you just folded is fully aligned, it's fully straight, and then I have to give it a little pinch too, just to make sure that it's not going to move, it's not going to come out of place, and you're pretty much ready to go racing with a fully built roll-off. And that's how we break it down. Like I said in the beginning, just wanted to run a quick recap of the key differences between the main, Airspace, and Vue roll-off systems. The main and the Airspace both share the same parts, the same roll-off system, all of that. The key differences between these two and the Vue Goggle is that the roll-off system is only available in a Lexan lens, versus the Vue Goggle is available for an injection molded lens. The reason for that is the Vue Goggle is a little bit more premier, and the injection molded lens is going to offer a little bit more protection. Other key differences between this roll-off system and the Vue is that there's 2 screws to mount it onto the lens, and then also how you snap on the canister doors is also going to be a little bit different. It kind of just pops on, snaps onto the sides, and you guys can shop all of these parts and goggles at foxracing.com.